Good morning.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 2025 UCR Staff Conference. We're really excited to have you today. Just going to give it a couple minutes to admit everyone in the waiting room. Welcome. Give it a couple minutes. Just a couple of notes for everyone in case you've never attended a event on Zoom events before. Each session is being recorded and will be posted on UCR Staff Assembly's YouTube channel, and also the keynote presentations will be stored in the UCR LMS. So just I'm gonna give it, a couple more minutes to make sure everyone is joining. And then also, if you would like closed captions for this session, please click on the Show Closed Caption button at the bottom of the screen. So while we wait, let me know where you all are listening from, what college you're from, maybe you're remote in office today, what org you're from. Awesome, we have some joining us from UCSD. That's awesome. BCI too. Cool. Great. I'm just going to give it one more minute before we get started. Right now we are at about 163 participants, so yay!
Shout out to my UCSD folks, my alumni, so nice to see you all.
Okay, we're going to get started with our session. Just a reminder for everyone, we just be mindful of the UCR's principle of community. And today I'm really excited to introduce Erika, Sarah, and Alex. I have the pleasure of working with them through campus, and they have been dedicated collaborators of LEAD and Staff Assembly, united by their mission to foster a positive workplace experience and culture at UCR. With a combined 28 years of service, Erika contributing 12, and both Alex and Sarah with 8 years each. They bring a wealth of experience and commitment to their roles. So let's give a warm welcome to our speakers this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our session. Before we begin, we wanted to give a little introduction of who we are and provide you with some information about how we started this, how this came about. So with our collaboration. So in the fall, Sarah, Alex, and myself, we met to discuss how the UCR Staff Assembly and our LEAD program, which is Leaders of Excellence and Distinction, could collaborate and provide exciting professional development opportunities to UCR staff. During COVID, there was an opportunity where we did have a book club, and we just thought it would be a great way to kind of start it up again. And then we came up with a list of books. We wanted to make sure that it was accessible to everybody. One of the books on the list was The Energy Bus, and we found that there was a free copy online, and then the rest was history. So before we begin, we're just going to take a quick moment to introduce ourselves and let you know where we're coming from. I'll go ahead and start. As Amy mentioned, my name is Erika Santoyo, and I am currently the graduate programs enrollment manager for the School of Business. I currently serve as the co-director of professional development for LEAD. Sarah?
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Dillon. I am the HR director for the College of Natural and Agricultural Sciences at UC Riverside, and I'm also the current director of professional development on our staff assembly. Alex?
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our session today. My name is Alex Rollins, and I'm the Director of Employee and Organizational Development for Central Human Resources. I also serve as the co-director along with Erika as the Director of Professional Development for LEAD. So thank you so much for joining, and we're very excited that you're here.
So thank you both. I'm going to pass it on to Alex to give us a little information about what our book is about.
All right, well, before we dive into the book, we have a quick question for you on the poll. So click or scan the QR code from the phone or click on the link from your chat to join from your web browser. And in one word, if you were to describe your life and if your life was a bus right now, what kind of journey would it be on? So I'm going to go ahead and give you all a quick moment before I go into the rules of the book and provide a quick overview for you all. So again, in one word, if your life was a bus right now, what kind of journey would it be on?
And you can click skip for now. You do not need to register.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, so retirement, I love that one. Fast growth, speed, healing, roller coaster, unknown, chaotic. There's so much. There's bumpy. There's so much with what life is throwing at you all, right? Just struggle. Maybe, you've heard people say, I'm on the struggle bus. So all the things, undiscovered, you're feeling stuck, traffic collision. So these are all really great words to describe how we're feeling today. And before we get into the book, I really want us to reflect on our own journey. And I want to introduce you to this energy bus. And I want to explore what John Gordon provides in his book, The Energy Bus. The book follows a man, George. And this man is struggling with negativity, not only at his work, but also in his life. So he meets a bus driver, and her name happens to be Joy. And through her guidance, he learns 10 powerful rules to fuel his life with positivity, purpose, and momentum. Because when you really think about it, life is hard. And sometimes life just throws things at you how do you handle these things? So these rules, what they do is they help you take control. They help you stay focused, and they help you build a team that moves forward together. So let's take a look at each of the rules. And today in this session, we're going to go into each of the rules, the top 3, and how they connect and how they apply to our journey together. So these are the 10 rules. This is just a quick overview of the bus. I wish that we had the time with you today to go over every single one of them. We all picked our favorite one. And so let's go ahead and take a deep dive into these rules. You're the driver of your bus. What does that mean? Take control of your life and your attitude. Desire, vision, and focus. Move your bus in the right direction. Set goals and stay focused. That's how you're going to move your bus in the right direction. Rule number 3, fuel your ride with positive energy. Negativity drains, positivity fuels. Invite people on your bus and share your vision. That's how you as a leader, you as an employee, you as a team member, that's how you're going to build a supportive team. Don't waste your energy on those who don't get on your bus. Let go of that negativity. Number 6, which is my ultimate favorite rule, post a sign that says, "No energy vampires allowed on your bus." How do you protect your energy when there's people that are negative on your bus? Rule number 7, enthusiasm attracts more passengers and energizes them. What is that saying to us? Positivity truly is contagious. Number 8, love your passengers. Show appreciation and support for the other people on your bus and the other people that are around you. Rule number 9, drive with purpose. When you know your why, that why is only going to continue to motivate you. And then last rule is really have fun and enjoy the ride. Life is a journey. How can we take these rules and make it a great one? In this session, we chose a rule that really resonated with us the most. Now I will go ahead and pass it over to Sarah so that she can share her favorite rule and why that rule stands out to her.
I'm gonna start.
Oh, is it you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Pass it over to Erika.
Okay, so one of the rule that resonated with me was rule 2, was desire, vision, and focus, moving your bus in the right direction. In reading the energy bus, the first thing you want to understand is that we are each the drivers of our own buses. That's rule number 1. And we get to steer it in the direction that is right for us. When in the book, Joy, the bus driver, is speaking to George, the main character, and is saying the following: every crisis offers an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser, to reach deep within and discover a better you that will create a better outcome. So while this is your crisis, what matters most is what you do with it. How do we do that? We need to understand how desire, vision, and focus moves our bus along. And as we begin to discuss what drives our bus, think of something you've always wanted to do, but may feel that it's a little bit out of our reach. So, how do we move our bus forward? In order to move it forward, we want to make sure we understand the motivation behind it and how we can reach it and how it reaches its destination. So, the first thing is we want to learn and understand how do we cultivate the desire that we have. So, there are 3 areas of desire that help us to understand the underlying motivation. The first one is intrinsic motivation, which means that it's the desire for personal satisfaction, purpose, and personal growth. So an example can be when anything that makes us feel that it'll help us grow as a person. Like it could be reading more books, trying to stay healthy, learning a new language, going out and meeting new people. Maybe it could be something that takes us out of our comfort zone. The second is emotional connection. Our desires and emotions are deeply connected. And an example is if it's ever a little bit difficult to let things go. From a work perspective, let's say you're given a project and your part of the project is now finished and it moves on to the next person. And as you see how that project is developing, you notice that they're starting to do more changes to what you initially did. Sometimes it could get frustrating. It feels like, oh, it's going against what I'm doing because of all the energy and work that we already put into that particular project. And the third is personal significance. This is when we do things that align with our core values and make us feel like we're making a meaningful difference. So an example is when we sign up to volunteer for a charity or a club, donating to special causes. So understanding what is our desire and where it's coming from, it'll allow us to help move the bus forward. So the next thing after we cultivate our desire, we want to develop that vision. Having a vision is important for both professional and personal success. It gives us an end point. Now, there's a difference between goals and a vision. When we think of a vision, it is how we see things in the future. The goals are what's going to get us there. So have you all heard the phrase "New Year, New Me"? If you have, can you share in the chat what time of year do we normally hear that? And why do you think that is? Jim? Yep. New Year's, it's a fresh start. So again, as like many of you, I've heard it's always on January 1st, the beginning of the new year. It's when we have the vision of who we want to be. And sometimes it's we want to keep doing what we're doing. And other times it's the desire to make changes to who we are and the life that we're leading. So if we want to make sure we stay true to our new year, new me mentality, we want to make sure that we have the focus and not let those distractions get in the way. So that's where focus comes in. In order to focus on a vision, we want to understand the challenges that we face. In the chat, can you share some of the challenges you have that distract you possibly from doing the things that you want to do? Social media, life responsibility, kids, constant change, conflicting priorities, money. Time and budgetary obligations, surprises. That's a good one. Yeah. Political uncertainty. Yeah, we're really in that area right now. So, like many of you mentioned, health, information overload is one of those big things that can be distracting. Another thing is multitasking. When we have so many things on our plate and we don't even know where to start, and it's almost of that freeze, what is it? Fight, flight, freeze. So sometimes it's like, I can't do anything because I have so much to do. Things can be that mentally drain us. And sometimes it's even not being able to prioritize those actions that we need to complete. So one of the things is figuring out what are our distractions and how do we reduce it. So instead of trying to do everything at once, we want to see if it's better to do one task at a time. Blocking out your calendars, communicate with others that you may not want to have any meetings on your calendar during this block, so that they kind of setting up that boundary so that it gives you a time to really focus on what you need to accomplish for that particular day. All right, so how do we move our bus forward with our vision, our focus, and our desires? When we look at one of the things that I recommend is with self-reflection. Take the time to look internally and see what you are really passionate about. Remember that our desires are not a one and done. As we grow as people, our visions of who we are will always be changing. It is a constant cycle. An example would be I started my role as an enrollment manager in September. Before that, I had been an academic advisor for 11 and a half years. It was something I never thought I would move towards because I loved working with students. When this position came up, it was something that was offered to me. I had to really self-reflect to figure out, is this really something that I want for myself? And then I looked at the pros and the cons and I realized, actually, I'm really good at this. I'm good at scheduling. I'm good at finding the puzzle. And then I also figured that it gives me joy when something gets completed. And then it's like putting that last piece of the puzzle when you kind of have like, it's done, it's working, it's great. And I realized that I really enjoy that feeling, and this job gives me that purpose. Number 2, vision boards. You want to surround yourself with images and words that inspire you to move towards the vision that you have. When for LEAD, for example, we have an annual retreat in the summer before we start the new academic year. This year we did vision boards. So one of our presidents, she came and brought all these different scrapbooking things, and we had the opportunity to just really get to know each other as we're creating these, but everybody's vision was different. Sometimes it's not even about pictures, because that can also be overwhelming. You don't know where to start. Your creative juices may not be flowing. It's also thinking about examples of famous vision statements. So I took a couple, for example, Feed the Children. Their vision statement is to create a world where no child goes to bed hungry. LinkedIn says to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. IKEA has to create a better everyday life for the many people. So these are just some of the things that sometimes we put on our board. One of my statements that I have on mine, not my monkey, not my circus. And sometimes I have to remind myself that it's not always up to me to make the change. And sometimes I have to step back and let other people take the lead. I mentioned single tasking before versus multitasking. Focus on one task at a time so that you can give it its undivided attention. There are now many articles that tell us that when we multitask, we tend to overwhelm ourselves and we probably make more mistakes. We don't meet our deadlines, and our productivity actually lessens as we add more projects that we're trying to accomplish. Changing those work habits. I can multitask. I can do many things at once. I actually changed that to where now I prioritize my top 3 tasks for the day. But I list everything that I have. That can be overwhelming when you see a whole list of things that you have to do. But when I prioritize my top 3, I divide my time and say, item 1 is going to be done in the morning, 2 in the middle of the day, and then 3 before I go home. And then if there's time, it could be that I have to now refocus my energy if one project needs more time. Then I also set up my day for the next day and say, okay, these are my next projects for tomorrow. So I leave knowing I have a plan and I don't have to worry about it tonight. That also leads into time management techniques. So how is it that we can do that considering all of those distractions that we have? I mentioned at work, it could be blocking out your schedule. It could be possibly doing taking breaks, putting those breaks on your calendar to say, today I'm going to take a 5-minute walk, a 10-minute walk. I'm going to step away from my desk, come back, recenter myself, and then continue on with the work that I have. One of the things that it helps me do is when you leave for the day, you're no longer focused on what you're leaving in the office. Then you can be mentally present for yourself, for family, and for friends. Now, the last one is SMART goals. So we want, one suggestion is create specific, measurable, and achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. I mentioned that a vision is different from a goal. The goal is what's going to get you to your vision. Now, think of the SMART goals as the stops on your bus as you get to your destination. Alex does a really great presentation on developing SMART goals for staff. So it helps us also with performance evaluations. I am going to put it in, I'm going to add, I asked Alex and she said it was okay. So I'm going to actually add some of the worksheets and some common goal setting mistakes that we do, that we sometimes do when we are trying to prioritize. But as we think about how we get to our destination, it's sometimes about the ride itself that we need to look at. So here is Sarah to tell you about rule number 3.
Okay. So we've talked about how to define the vision, okay? But how do we keep going? We have to fuel our rides with positive energy. And I'm going to say it right now, I am not always good about this. So I'm going to be taking the advice I'm imparting for myself. But let's start by defining positive energy. Go ahead, put some ideas in the chat. What are some ways that you think positive energy shows? How do you see it in the workplace or in your personal life? Smile, friendliness, absolutely. Greeting others. Yep, you're not just coming in and shutting your door and not saying hi to anybody when you come in. Helping people, communicating, looking at the brighter side. All of these definitely are great ways that we see positive energy in ourselves and in others. Well, does it really matter? Okay, I'm going to geek out a little bit. We're going to look at some of the actual benefits that they have studied and found where positive energy actually helps us. Okay. So, has benefits in all kinds of ways, both in the workplace and in our personal health. The University of Kansas found that just smiling, even if you're faking it, reduces your heart rate and your blood pressure. People who have a family history of heart disease, who have a positive outlook, are actually less likely to have a heart attack than people who don't have that positive outlook. Positive thinking can lower blood sugar, blood pressure, cortisol, reduce stress, improve your mental health. And then in the workplace, it improves teamwork and creativity. I mean, do you want to work with the coworker who's just kind of bah humbug all the time? No, you want someone who's coming in and they've got energy and they're positive. It also increases productivity. And they have found that just having one friend at work can help you feel more engaged in your job. Shout out to all the work besties out there, because that is what makes the job worth it. So we have all of these benefits. It's a lot of motivation to keep the positive energy up and fuel our rides. So we know the benefits. We have some ideas of positive energy, what it looks like in the workplace, okay? You can feel it, right? When you walk in and there's kind of that negative cloud. Somebody walks in the room and they're bringing a rain cloud in with them. You can feel that energy versus somebody who's coming in and they're upbeat and they're optimistic. I can name for you people who meet both of these criteria, and I know exactly who I would prefer to work with. I want someone who's optimistic and they want to get stuff done and they want to help versus the person that you go to and you have an idea and they're just like, no, we've done that before, it didn't work. When's 5 o'clock? When can I go home? It's no fun. So I think we can all think of times we've been around those people, and we can all think of times when we have been both of these people. Like I said, I am guilty. Sometimes that negative energy, it gets you. And so we're going to come up with some ways that we can refuel when we are feeling that negative energy. Because what happens when we're around that type of energy for a long time? We start having some of those same feelings. Okay. Erika, thank you. Okay, so I remember when I was first starting in my career, I was on an HR team. None of us were happy. And we would talk all the time about this boss said this, and this work is so stupid, and I hate everything about this job. And we just had this negative spiral going. And eventually, one by one, each of us left the company because we couldn't get out of that rut of negative energy, and negative creates more negative. Exactly. So when I look back, I realized how much we were feeding into each other and we were losing all the motivation and enjoyment that we had in our jobs. Being around that negative energy can be draining. So it's important that we're fueling our rides with positive energy to combat it. And when we start feeling negative, we run on empty and we end up burned out. And then sometimes you leave the company like I did. Now, positive energy can't fix everything. Okay, we're not talking about toxic positive energy where we're pretending everything is rainbows and butterflies, even when there's fires all around us. You know, the meme with the dog sitting at the table and there's flames everywhere and this is fine. We're not talking about that. But we can talk about how we can be positive and how we can receive and respond to our work environments to create more positive energy. So burnout can be caused by a few different things. Lack of control is one of those. Positive energy can't give us more control, but it can help us reflect on what work we do have control over and give us the motivation to improve the work. The better work you do, the more your boss can see that you're ready for more control over your work. If you're coming in motivated, they're more likely to let you run with something versus if you're coming in and you don't really want to do anything. Another cause of burnout can be the lack of reward and recognition. And it's important to remember, recognition doesn't have to come from leadership. A sincere thank you and a compliment to a coworker can really go a long way towards building positive energy for both them and for yourself. UCR staff assembly, we have our Get Recognized awards. I'm sure other staff assemblies have similar things. So if you have a coworker who deserves some recognition, make sure you're taking the time to recognize them. And then poor relationships can be a cause of burnout. I mean, who wants to be around a negative person all the time? It's hard to work with that person who's bringing the rain cloud in with them. So if that person's you're going to have poor relationship. And having the workplace friend makes the difference in our workplace happiness. A recent study by the University of Kent found that strong bonds with family, friends, and coworkers can help boost our physical and mental health and overall well-being. So find ways to fuel your positive energy to improve your relationships. So now we're going to talk about some techniques for fueling that positive energy. The first one is setting intentions, and this ties back into what Erika covered. It's important to know what you're working towards. Okay, you have to have that vision, have that idea. Otherwise, what are you doing? It's easy to kind of get burnt out if you have no clear idea of where you're going. So having that clear goal each day can keep you motivated and help you feel accomplished as things get done. If you're a to-do list person, like me, you like checking off those check boxes on your to-do list, and that can help kickstart the positive energy. Sometimes I come in and I'm not really feeling it, and so I'll knock off a couple things on my list that are real easy just to get that motivation going for the day. Celebrating progress and complimenting others. I'm going to look for those opportunities to recognize others and the progress that's been made. And so with recognition, intentionality is really important. We can get bogged down in our day-to-day and we can forget to say thank you or recognize the work that our teams are doing. And remember, anyone can give recognition. It doesn't have to come from a supervisor. I love getting a note from any one of my coworkers saying thank you or great work. Just sending a Zoom chat or an email really can boost your energy and theirs. And then reframing. So our conference theme this year is Mindset Matters. And that really ties into this idea of reframing. When things are going wrong, we need to flip our mindsets and look for a way to reframe it. So the example here on the screen, I keep making mistakes. I must be failing. You can reframe that. These mistakes are part of the learning process. I'll do better next time. Okay. We're not saying you didn't make a mistake, but it happens. We're human. So I'm going to have us practice a little bit of reframing in the chat. Okay, we're going to just try one. This is one I hear a lot. We're going to try practicing reframing. This meeting is a waste of time. Why am I here? So if you have an idea of how you can reframe that mindset, go ahead, put it in the chat. Try and put a positive spin. There's a purpose to everything that we do, even if sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Taking time to invest in myself. Absolutely. That's a great way to reframe it, Sherry. Thank you. Here are ways I think this meeting could be more efficient. Absolutely. How can we improve it? Maybe it isn't working right now. What can we do in the future? I get to be part of a bigger conversation. I tried something different. Opportunity to learn something new. Although it's long, I'm willing to learn and work with others. These are all great ways you can reframe. So when you catch yourself kind of having that negative, why am I here? It's so boring. Take a moment, reframe. What's something positive about it? All right. And then I've got one final tip for fueling our positive energy. Okay. Creating an energy jar. Whether by yourself or with your team, in your department, with some friends, however you want to do it, start collecting, positive affirmations, motivational quotes, acts of kindness that you see or do. I was thinking on my way in, I'm like, I need to just put some like YouTube clips of funny things from The Office, or different shows that I like. Songs can be a great motivator. And so then when the energy starts getting low, you just grab your energy jar, you pull out a slip. Oh, yeah, that was funny. That did make me happy that day. Like a reminder, because when we get into the negative and we're feeling it, it can be hard to remember. And so this can be something to kind of help break up the rain cloud a bit. So what are some things that you would put in your energy jar? Go ahead and put in the chat some ideas that you might have. Absolutely a meme jar. I would need a lot of pictures in mine. Just a lot of cat pictures for me. Just breathe. Picture of the dog. There you go, Kelly. Absolutely. Our animals can be our primary motivators. Baby bunny videos. Yes. Good joke. Absolutely. Little doodles. Today is a great day. Always a good reminder. If it's not great already, we can make it great. All right. You can keep putting ideas in the chat, and if people want to collect them and start their own energy jar, you go right on ahead. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Alex. Now that we know how to fuel our positive energy, Alex is going to take us into her favorite role.
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah. So rule number 6, but before we get into it, I want you to think about this. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly you just felt the energy drop, right? Maybe there's someone or something, maybe there's someone that's constantly complaining about something going on in their life, spreads negativity, and it just drains the life out of you. It drains the life out of the conversation. let's be honest, we all know these people, and they're what John Gordon calls energy vampires. So in the energy bus, Joy teaches George that he has the power to control who gets on his bus. That means we don't have to let negative people drain our energy. Instead, we can set boundaries, shift our mindset like Sarah's talking about, and protect our energy and positivity. So rule number 6 is really about keeping energy vampires off our bus. Let's take a moment to recognize what they actually look like. And no, for those of you who watch the show, what we do in the shadows, we're not talking about that energy vampire. We're talking about people here. But I needed to point that out. Apparently there was a show with this man over here. So let's see how many energy vampires you encountered. So we have a quick poll for you. And the $1 million question is, which one of these is an energy vampire? Give you all a quick second to answer that quick poll. Oh, I have some people saying all of the above in the chat. So you all caught me. Yes, this is a trick question. So great responses for you all. But yes, it's clear that energy vampires come in many forms. The answer to this poll is tricky. It's all of them can be energy vampires. An energy vampire is someone who drains the energy of those around them. They often, through their negativity, their constant complaining, their drama, or just the emotional exhaustion, just bring the energy of the room down. So we have the constant complainer. They bring morale by focusing on problems rather than solutions. In our talk this morning, I hope that you all had the opportunity to go see our keynote speaker. He talked about problems or possibility, right? If you're a leader and you're trying to motivate your team to do something and you have someone that's just always just, nope, there's this problem, there's this problem, there's this problem. How do you see the world? Is it through problems or is it through solutions? You know, one of the things that my mom always tells me, and I will always remember the saying as I raise my kids is, don't find the problem to the problem, find the solution. So that's what we're trying to do here. The drama magnet, we all know those, right? They thrive on chaos, and what do they do? They pull you into their conflict. They just like pull you in. The negative self-talk. Sometimes we could even do this as people, right? Where we're looking into an atmosphere, maybe there's just a long day ahead of us. One of the things that my husband and I started doing recently, where he says, well, what do you have on your calendar? And I say, oh, I have this, and this. And then we try to reframe it in a positive way, saying, you know what, we just got to get through today. And, you know, we're going to have, you know, a great dinner or something that we look forward to at the end of the day. Today, he has to drive out to Temecula. So he had to leave the house at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I said, hey, don't worry, you know, we're going to do this after work and we're going to, you know, take the girls to get some ice cream. So something to look forward to. How do you take that negative self-talk and how can you inspire positivity, even in yourself? And then the always tired colleague may unintentionally just, you know, just sap the energy by engaging in just like that lack of motivation. You know, you probably have that person's always tired. They're always complaining about how tired they are. And that just kind of unintentionally just saps the energy out. So the key takeaway here really is that energy vampires aren't people. They can be situations, thoughts, our own habits. And while we can't control what happens around us, we can control how we respond to it and how we can protect our energy. And that is also using the rules that Erika and Sarah already mentioned above. How do we change our mindset with that? So now that we've identified our energy vampires, and that's the first thing that I encourage you all to do, whether you're in a team meeting, even if it's in your personal life, really look at the situation. Is this an energy vampire? And how can you start, you know, reframing the thoughts? How can you reframe even the tasks that you're working on? So we're going to go ahead and take this a little bit further. We all have things in our daily life, day in, day out, that drain our energy, right? Before we can protect our energy, we really need to understand and recognize, well, what is stealing my energy? I want you to take a moment, reflect, what is something in your daily life? It can happen every day, every other day, in the office, in your personal life. What steals your energy? What drains your energy? So think about that. And that's just a reflection for you all. Go ahead and put it in the chat if y'all are brave to do that. What are some of those things that steal your energy? Oh my gosh, I know, Jane, the to-do list. Yes. I finally got to the point where I said, you know what, I'm probably not going to be doing this to-do list anymore because it just kept going, adding to it, adding into it, adding to it. Zoom. Oh, I'm so glad that you said that, Sarah. One of the things that I started doing is I've been so intentional about going on a walk because sometimes my work day is just Zoom meeting, Zoom meeting, Zoom meeting. I even went out and I got a stand-up desk. So right now I'm standing because that's something that I was able to do to just view work in a whole different way. So again, great things that you all are putting in your chat. One of the things that I want you all to focus on is in order to protect your energy, you really want to make sure what's stealing it. And once you get that and take it into perspective, you can say, okay, what am I going to do about this situation? What are we going to do about the back-to-back meetings? You know, sometimes we don't have control over those things, and I completely understand that. One of the things that we started doing in our team is every meeting starts at 10:10, or I'm sorry, whatever, the 10:10 after the hour, to give people a little bit of the breathing room because you just start feeling that burnout, right? So if you're having back-to-back meetings day in, day out, what are you doing to protect that? What are some things that we can do to make it a little bit easier, a little bit better for ourselves? So yes, I highly recommend the stand-up desk. Now that we've identified what drains our energy, and there's a lot of things, right, that could drain our energy, I want us to really flip the script. And just like we can lose energy, we have to also take an intentional step to recharge and refuel, which is a little bit what Sarah was talking about as well. So what are some things that boost your energy? Because now that you identified what's draining it, what are some of the things that we can do to boost it? So we talked a little bit in the chat, back-to-back Zoom meetings. Well, how can we boost our energy when we're going into a day, a Monday morning, where you're looking at your calendar and it's from 8 to 5, back-to-back meetings? What do you do? What do you do in that situation? What are some thoughts? Yep, assessing what meetings need to happen, build in breaks. Maybe that's a meeting that you could just listen to, maybe turn off your camera, and then you're just doing some kind of stretches with Hung. He does the best stretches out there. Coffee, snack, stretch, bio break, yes, whatever you can do instead of just sitting there the whole entire time. I remember there was a day where I just sat there all day and I gave myself the worst back pain. And I told my husband, I said, nope, I'm not doing this, not again. And so now I'm starting to move more. I have a coworker that she has a watch, and that watch says, okay, get up and move, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm sitting too long, get up and move. So whatever it is, even if you're taking a walk outside, I have a team member that puts a self-care walk that every, 11 o'clock, 11:30, if she can, obviously, to go take that self-care walk. So again, those are the things that, how can we switch our mindset? I know that there's a lot of things that maybe we can't control with our schedule, but what can we control? And how can we continue to move our body, stretch our body, strengthen our body? One of the things that I started doing is I made a commitment of, you know what? I'm going to start doing my workouts. I have this amazing app called Beachbody, and I don't even use it. I've had it for like 5 years, and sometimes I'm really, really good at it, and then sometimes I'm really bad at it. So now I'm making a commitment. You know what? I need to do it. I want to do it for myself, for my kids. I want to be healthy. So how can I continue to do that? Right? So now that we've identified what drains our energy, the next big step is really figuring out how to keep these energy vampires. How do we keep them off our bus? The good news is we don't have to let these energy vampires take control. We have the power, and I really want you to know that you have the power to set boundaries, to shift your mindset, and most importantly, be the stronger energy. I know what it feels like to walk into a room and you're just zapped, right? Someone is maybe too negative or whatever, but I want to challenge you. Be the stronger energy. Don't let yourself, get beat down by that energy that you're already feeling in the room. So here are 3 simple tips that I want to offer you to really keep those energy vampires off your bus. And the first one is really set clear boundaries. Here's the thing. It's okay to limit time with negative people. Redirect draining conversations and say no, and try to do it without feeling guilt. Be mindful of your energy output. And here is the biggest tip that I want to give you. Not every problem is yours to solve. It took me years to finally realize that. Not every problem is yours to solve. You can support others without carrying their stress. How do you do that? How can you still support someone without taking all their stress into your heart? That is huge. So, for example, if you have a coworker who's constantly venting to you, it's okay to listen briefly, offer encouragement, and then shift the conversation. Or, you know what? One of the things that, let's say I had a hard day at work, or my husband had a hard day at work. We have this rule in our family, and that rule is, okay, we're going to talk about work, and we have a timer of 15 minutes. Because if you keep talking about it, talking about that negativity that happened, it gets to the point where it just bleeds into your family house, into your family home, and just you're just negative, right? I start, talking to my kids, and I'm starting to get annoyed with them out of no reason, because I just feel that negative energy, right? And so again, how can you shift? And this is a really hard thing to do. How do you shift so that you aren't getting drained about what's happening in your life day in and day out? Second one is manage your mindset. The way we talk to ourselves truly matters. Focus on things that you can control and reframe those negative thoughts. I woke up this week and I started thinking, wow, I have a really busy week ahead. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I have no idea how I'm going to do it. And then all of a sudden I started catching myself. I said, okay, you know what? It's going to be okay. I have time to do this. I have time to do this. During this hour, I'm going to do this. And all of a sudden, my world completely changed. I mean, try to manage your mindset. When you start going down that negative road and you're like, oh my gosh, like this day is going to be really terrible because I have this going on, this going on. How can you shift? What can you do? What can you do differently? Maybe that day you go out to dinner. I don't know. But again, if you focus on it, and this takes intentional thought, you can reframe that negative energy, as difficult as it may seem. And the third one that I have for you, which is one that I truly, truly, truly believe in, is be the stronger energy. Your energy sets the tone. If you're a leader, lead with optimism and surround yourself with those who uplift you. Not everyone is ready for the ride, and that's okay. Just don't let their negativity take over your journey. And that is the biggest tip that I want to leave with you. Keep your bus filled with the right passengers. So how can you continue to be that stronger energy? You know what? If you're a team leader and you are trying to move your team to another situation, continue doing it. If you believe in that, continue doing that and be the stronger energy. I know that there's times that I've caught myself and I said, oh, they don't like this idea. And then I just start getting, kind of like bummed out about it. And then I just my energy is like zapped. No, I need to be the stronger energy. And I want to live that every single day. Every room you walk into, every conversation you have, your energy speaks before you do. You need to protect it, you need to nurture it, and you need to be intentional about the vibe that you're bringing. When you radiate positivity, you not only uplift yourself, but you're also uplifting those people around you. So as you move forward, I want you to ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to introduce what kind of energy do I want to introduce to people before I even say a word? Really think about that. How can you continue to be the kind of energy that inspires and not drains? And remember, this is your ride. It's your bus. How can you continue to make it a great one? Really, really think about that. And that's the legacy that I want to leave around with people, right? I want them to know, like, hey, you know what? When she came into a meeting, when she came into a room, she had really good energy. So again, just remember, your energy introduces you before you speak. And now I will go ahead and pass it over back to Erika.
So looking at the time, I want to be mindful because we know that someone mentioned that the Zoom conference is back to back. So just to give everybody a chance to do a bio break, our goal was to have an opportunity for you all to go into breakout rooms and come up with your own energy bus poem. And what we were thinking of was a haiku. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with what a haiku is, but a haiku is a short Japanese poem. It consists of 3 lines and a total of 17 syllables. 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables in the third. So your takeaway for today is we'd like for you to look at your own energy bus, look at the 3 rules that we discussed today, and come up with your own haiku. Possibly this could be your vision statement that you can have somewhere close to you. So whenever you are feeling that drain or you are feeling that negativity, you can look at it and it'll give you that little boost that you may need to finish your day. And then you can recenter yourself, take a nice rest of your day, and then come back energized to do it all again. So this is an example of a haiku. The sun pours herself into the sea and the world overflows with light. So if you all take this as you will, we highly recommend it. It's really fun to do them. Sarah's really good at them. We were practicing and came up with like 3 just on the spot. But before we end the session, we did want to just, Alex wanted to go over some of the things we have from her office.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Erica. So one of the things, if you are here, well, obviously you all are here with us at the staff conference. I wanted to let you know that our team in HR, Employee and Organizational Development, is offering 20 All Access Pass seats to our Franklin Covey All Access Pass program. And so we are going to be doing a raffle at the end of this conference. And if you win, you are going to be able to get access to all these amazing Franklin Covey courses. But if you didn't win and you still want access, you can always subscribe. The only difference is that obviously if you subscribe, there is a cost of $3.95 to that. So let's hope that, you're one of the 20 people that win. So I just wanted to tell you all about that because again, one of the things that we believe in and the reason why we do things like this, like the staff conference, is we really believe in you taking the time for your development. And even though we're sharing things that you're like, well, yeah, that's kind of obvious. Sometimes it's so important to hear that reminder and to remind yourself so that you can intentionally do it day in and day out. So I wanted to let you know that you all will be entered into a raffle to win the All Access Pass.
We do have some resources of articles that could help you with your vision, desire, and focus. I believe we'll have the opportunity to put the PowerPoint PDF in the conference. We'll double check how to do that so you all have access to this. But just to move forward with what's next in the conference, we have upcoming sessions today at 1 p.m. We have the new model for the performance management with Ania Alvarado Voss, and we also have reducing workplace injuries with I want to say it's Ed Marshall. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. But we just want to thank you all for joining us today. It was really fun putting this together and having you give your feedback and your insights. I think we all really benefited from it, even us as the speakers. So if you have any questions in the chat while we have a few minutes, please go ahead, raise your hand, unmute yourselves. We'd really love to hear from you.
And also I have some people asking me about the book. The book is called The Energy Bus. Not sure if y'all can see that because of my video, but it's called The Energy Bus by John Gordon. And let me tell you, it's been something that I'm going to be definitely put on my shelf and review it from time to time. So again, The Energy Bus by John Gordon.
And I've added that book in the chat. I also left some quick reminders for everyone. So a first reminder is we are having an in-person closing session that takes place tomorrow at 2 p.m. If you have not RSVP, feel free to do so. The instructions are listed on the chat. Second thing we have is that our lead nominations for our e-board, executive board are now open. If you have anyone you recommend to be a leader on the board, feel free to complete the form for us. The third reminder is staff assembly elections will be open next month, April 14th. There is the link to vote. So once that's up, you can feel free to fill that form as well. Last thing is the EOD listserv. So there is the link to the listserv if you have not signed up for that. And then the fifth reminder is something that Alex just reminded us about, the Franklin Covey All Access Pass. It's a really great opportunity, and it's pretty cool that EOD has the opportunity to offer 20 seats this year at the end of this conference. So thank you everyone for joining. Hope you learned a lot, learned some tips, maybe creating a vision board or jar. That's a really cool tip, and I'm most definitely gonna take that. So thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, the closing ceremony will be in person. I don't think it'll be available through Zoom.
Yes,
For the
in
person that
person
asked the
only.
question still here.